All right, Senator, you're good?
Yeah, I'm good. I mean,
Already got it.
I believe it was a very pleasant. Okay.
You enjoyed the speech, Senator?
I enjoyed it because it was pleasant and it identified areas that we do need to come to terms. There are things that the people want need help on, and when you identified the growth of the hospital, we need to focus on that. Remember, I did an oversight on GMH. There are things we need to fix, but we need to be prepared to start building a new hospital. And being an EPOM, I don't believe it's the right place. I didn't vote for 185, I voted for 184. I still believe it should be over there. There's a lot of folks that are more comfortable if it was Manila. And then in the other areas they brought up, building more precincts. There's a bunch of areas she brought up, and I have an agreement with, I would say, maybe 90% of it. There may be things I'm going to have to digest a little bit more, but I'm not going to say that it wasn't a great state of affairs. I'm going to say it was. I am very comfortable with the state of affairs, and then we need to concentrate on the Attorney General's office. What we're going to do then? Because when agencies do not have attorneys for legal advice, we need to make adjustment. And we need to take a look at what the Organic Act says he needs to do. And he's got problems separating his prosecution from his civil, then he needs to make the adjustment because he's in charge. He's not a prosecutor, and he's not a civil. He's the guy in charge. He needs to know how to separate those areas of responsibility.
One thing I know you're an expert at is education.
Yes.
She made some proposals to the Department of Education and what should be done to help them out with all the issues that linger.
Well, on the issues of public-private partnership, which is and focusing on the maintenance, that's something I brought up when I was on the board, and I couldn't get the board members to agree to that. And today, they're asking for that because we need to figure out a way how to fix it. And it's obvious. There's nothing against the maintenance folks, but they need private partnership so they can have folks that have the strong expertise to get the schools fixed. And then we move on because the way they've been spending money is not the right way, and it's all been federal money. That could have been used 4 years ago, and they could have fixed, I believe they could have fixed all the schools. They didn't. Now they're trying to do catch up. It's kind of late, but still a public-private partnership can get it fixed.
Yep. All right, Senator. Thank you for your time. Appreciate it.
I forgot already.
Happy day, Senator. Good. May I get your reaction to the State of the Island address here?
Hey, buddy.
All right. Senator Frank Blas, what'd you think?
I was expecting more. As I sat there, I pondered and I wondered, okay, had we not had a pandemic, had we not only had the federal funds, what kind of a conversation would we have tonight? And with the fundings that was received in millions of dollars, that wasn't well spent. I was a little disappointed that we're not going to, while her emphasis was on the hospital, my emphasis has been on healthcare in general on the island. My emphasis has been get the access to the people in the remote areas now. These are things that we can do today. She didn't talk about it because she wanted to focus more on wanting to build for the future. People need healthcare now, and I was a little disappointed that she didn't speak of that. Okay, you want to go into these speeches hoping for the best, and I'm hoping that there is going to be a compromise. You heard her. She said, I'm willing to compromise. How many times have we heard that before? Okay? Let me remind you that. She said that right before the American Rescue Plan monies were even spent. She said, let's sit down together so that we can work together on how we're going to best spend it. Then, within a heartbeat, you can no longer, you can't spend the money. It's all on me. So, where's the sincerity in that? Okay? If you want me to do something, go on. Take the first step. We have taken the steps, and you cut our neck. These legs were out from under us. We're not going to do that anymore.
She did touch on public safety a bit. I know that's a bit, you have some background on that. Do you think that was touched on well enough? I know she focused on trying to help those in law enforcement and keep our police force beefed up on manpower.
It's kind of interesting, and yes, while we'd like to be able to beef up law enforcement, there's more to it than just the salary. Okay, it's the support that the law enforcement needs. It's what law enforcement has to deal with out on the streets. Okay, getting to the root causes of many of the crimes. And while you're doing that as well, you didn't say anything about the nurses. We've got a critical shortage of nurses. At least that's what you said. Okay, what about them? Okay, you have the opportunity to be able to say something about this. And it's not taken away from what law enforcement officers do. They're undermanned. When I was in the police force, there were 550 officers. Today, there are only 280 people personnel in the police department. Okay? Does that have, it may have something to do sometimes with salaries, but it's other things, okay, that are the root causes to this. All right? I went in at $3.25 an hour. Okay? And I stayed for a long time. You know, but the thing is because we have the support. Law enforcement have the support from its personnel, from its management, from the government. We're giving that same support. It's not always about money. It's about support.
Okay. Thank you, Senator, for your time.
All right. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Okay, but take
We'll just have you right here. And then if I could just clip this on you right here. All right. Cool. So, Speaker, what'd you think?
Well, I hope they're sincere, working together. I think we've been very much willing to do that. I know that I have in my entire career as a senator here for the last few years, not just with this governor, but with the previous governor as well. And I think working together actually has brought us to budgets that are balanced, budgets that have been very disciplined. We've restricted our revenue projections to what we found very reasonable and our expenditures within those projections. And we have been able, because of that, to have excess funds that we were able to dedicate to hustles such as the credits, the aid programs for businesses, and we've worked together to raise the liquid fuels tax, to put more money to the hospital than was originally budgeted in the governor's budget, to put more money to behavioral health, to try to get specialists, to put more money, a lot of local funds, and this is taxpayer money that we are dedicating towards these apprenticeship programs, to the Guam, all of that. We have champions in the legislature who really championing all of that to do the laws to allow these submerged cables to come in, and the huge data centers that are global are going to be the global technology. These are big things that different senators have championed, and we have been very successful collaborating together and together with each other, together with the governor. So I'm looking forward to more of that. I think the really only disagreement that I really see is not a philosophical one, but it's a factual one. It's like we really need to get the facts on the table that will really assist with collaboration and make sure that whatever facts are being said to anyone else are the actual facts that we are going to deal with it here, and that's very important. And I think that's how we have been able to be successful with budgets. We've been able to question those people who come down with the fiscal team. If we can't question them, then we will never be successful. And we have been successful because we have senators that are bold enough to question, and they are prepared enough to know that's an answer. So I think that's much better budgeting that way, and much better.
And she had a list of requests for the senators, for you, and for your colleagues all throughout, especially toward the end of the speech, asking for that collaboration. It felt like the governor had a sense that there was a divide between her branch and this branch.
Like I said, I've been working with both governors that I've served as a senator with, and I don't see a problem with collaboration. I really do think there's a difference of facts, whether they're going to be open and transparent with the facts. That, to me, is crucial. If you want to agree, that we need to all know the same set of facts. Otherwise, of course, if we're going to end up with some disagreement. But I find that we have collaborated. Like I said, we could not have passed those successful programs, energy reduction, all the credit programs, all the even the procurement law that we've changed to allow those ARP funds that were sitting for too long and we were in jeopardy of losing. We were able, through the leadership of Senator Perez, to amend the law to allow for critical procurements to not have stays and to be very special. So I think the problem comes before us, and we have been able to deal with it. Just like when Typhoon War came, and we were able to come in here right away, allow emergency expenditure of millions of dollars, and we were able to as well ensure that the mayors are going to get those monies directly and be able to use them at their discretion. All of this, almost everything that's decided was collaboration. So for me, I don't see any problem continuing to collaborate. That's what I'm going to do.
Great. Well, we hope to see more of that to come.
Yes, of course.
Okay, thank you, Speaker. Appreciate it. I'll take the microphone. Thank you. We're live right now.
Oh, right now?
So,
Hi, man. Long time no see.
all right, Senator Parkinson. So, put this on you real quick, and then get straight to it. I'm okay, right? Okay. So, your thoughts, Hafa your thoughts on the State of the Island address. What stuck out to you the most?
The thing that stuck out to me the most was really there were some very big points that I thought were incredibly important to the discussion going forward on the island, specifically on the hospital and what we have to do to going forward to remove the legal barriers so that our agencies and our Attorney General can work in a much more harmonious fashion. I think that was really, in terms of the short-term stuff, what I felt we really needed to take a good look at, because these are the sort of things that can logjam us months down the road and put a critical halt on things before they even start. For the State of the Island, I feel what the governor was saying in terms of things are getting better, maybe slowly, but surely they are trending in that direction. And I hope that as we continue to do this rebuild post-Malwar, that if we invest our energies in the right way, we can continue this upward trend and make it much more than a short blip and really turn it into a trend in the future. We see things picking up in the tourists. I see things in Suman, their restaurants are full, the streets are full, we got our full leadership coming in. And so I feel it in the air. I feel there's a real possibility for Guam to open up and be very, very strong going into the future. But that's not the sort of thing that happens without us nurturing it and making sure that potential gets realized.
Was there anything with regard to public safety or health that you thought she could have addressed a bit more? That's what I'm hearing from some of your colleagues.
I mean, there's always more we can do to address the public safety, but I see it as a collaborative effort, especially as we go around towards retooling our legal services to be, much more effective at prosecuting crime and actually making sure people do the time when they get caught and aren't just being caught and released. And so I think that looking towards the future, towards a dedicated office of the prosecutor is a good step forward in the future towards having a dedicated office towards crime and a dedicated office towards giving advice to the blind agencies of the government of Guam. Because sometimes when there is a crossover, things can get a little bit messy, as we've seen.
All right, anything else?
Just that I think that things are trending in the right direction, but we can't take it for granted. We got to keep putting in the work day in, day out, because the work to make our society great, that's an everyday job. That's not just something that happens on elections or State of the Unions or whatnot. It's people knocking on doors that won't open until they do.
Okay.
And so we'll continue to knock.
All right. We'll wait to see who answers on the other end. Thank you, Senator, for your time.
Thank you. Always happy to be accountable to the press. Thank you.
Appreciate it. I'll take this from you.
Oh, thank you.
Thanks.
Always forget this.
You're fine. live on Facebook as well.
What's on Facebook? Thanks for joining us.
You're immediately off the top. You spoke with us. You were one of the senators that spoke with us prior to the speech. You already had expectations set. But now that you heard the words from the governor up there, your reaction?
I think I was expecting a little more. And I just think the governor's really got to work on a new approach if she wants to work with the senators. You can't spend the whole speech punching us in the face and then at the very end say, hey, I want to work with you guys. The governor touched on a few issues like the construction of a new hospital. She went down her version of events. And I think, that's part of the problem is we can't even agree on what actually took place factually. And so my read of that speech was the governor failed on Eagles Field, she failed on Medina. And I think why she failed on those two proposals was because she didn't humble herself and bring herself to the body and answer the questions of the colleagues. She also said Bill 185 barely passed, but the governor, as a former senator, should know when it comes to bills, there's only passing and not passing. There's no barely passing. So the majority of the senators have already spoken on the future of bonds, and we sent that bill right out to the governor.
Hey, but this is my wife, Senator Lester right there. She grew up right today.
Not just Gaga, but Eagles Field, as well as for that matter. And then with public safety, I like what the governor had said about getting the police recruits to do 3 years. This is something that we brought up in a lot of the public hearings. So I'm glad that they're watching what's going on here at the legislature. And I thought it was ambitious of her to say that they want to churn out 100 new police officers because I'm talking with the chief and they're having a hard time filling the cycles. I mean, there's a lot of issues with just getting people to pass the test to become police officers, and then there's backups that occur routinely at the Department of Administration. And in fact, I had just attempted to introduce a bill where I was going to allocate $1 million to the Guam Police Department so they can have an additional cycle in this fiscal year. When I spoke to the chief of police, he was very honest and he said, Senator, I don't think we could fill that cycle before the end of the fiscal year. So these are the real challenges that we're facing. I did hear a lot of patting on the back, and relative to the schools, I think what really offended me was the governor's notion that, and we all know she was talking about me, that there was a crisis that was fabricated. If you look at our public schools and you talk to our students and our teachers, there was no crisis fabricated. This is reality. If the governor went out to the schools, she would see that reality. And no matter what is going on with accreditation, the simple fact is we have parents and stakeholders in our public school system that are having to take the Guam Department of Education to court to get an adequate education. And that's something I don't want to lose sight of. There's still so much work to do. And there are many things to celebrate, but I was really looking for more ideas for the governor and, willingness to compromise. If you couldn't convince us on Eagles Field, if you couldn't convince us on Edda Gaga, then maybe it's time that she starts looking at the facts relative to Eva Point. I mean, she says it's on a fault line. I've seen the maps. I beg to differ.
We were about to lease that out. The Chamorro Land Trust is about to lease that out for a huge commercial project. So if it's good enough to build a convention center or a casino, then it's good enough to build a new hospital for the people of Guam.
Final question I have for you after tonight. She has until tomorrow to sign your bill, your version of the hospital bill that would propose it there at EPOW Point. Have you heard any feedback?
I haven't heard anything. I think what was interesting for me was, I called out the lieutenant governor, who was the acting governor at the time, and I said, hey, if you
want to show us that an administration under Josh Tenorio is going to be different than an administration under Guerrero, then show us and sign that bill. And it was interesting to me because the press release from the governor's office came out just minutes after we passed Bill 185, and that press release said that Bill 185 was going to face a clear and certain veto. But we're nearing on the 10 days, and I think what's going on here is a little bit of political shenanigans. I don't think the governor is going to veto my bill until we come out of emergency session tomorrow, because as she knows, if she vetoes that bill,
we can turn around and override it the minute we get that communication from her office. So
I'm not sure if that's what's at play here, but yeah, I mean, she did promise a clear and certain veto, and I think the people of Guam
are wondering what's taking so long. I'm still hoping that she passes, that she signs that bill and allows that to go into law again. When we look at the timeline, right, and that for me is one of the biggest selling points of EPOW Point is GMH is only going to last long. And when you listen to what the governor is saying, it's really uncertain the level she has from the federal government. We don't have
anything in black and white that we can really move on. And if we're banking the future
of the people of Guam's healthcare, and we're
we all realize GMH is not going to last long. Then I say we build an EPAL and we meet the future of the people of Guam's healthcare needs as quickly as we can, and that's really what the people of Guam deserve. I mean, you look at the hospital, you look at the state of the community health centers. I mean, healthcare under this administration has really taken a hit, and it's I hope the people of Guam kept their receipts because they said elect a nurse, and when I look out and I look at the state of healthcare on our island, it's heartbreaking.
Well, we'll see what the progress is in coming days. Thank you, Senator, for your time. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Viva KUAN! All right, George, you got that?
Sorry.